entrepreneur known as Wise Courtship all over social media. But many people were very astute to realize that I'm an entrepreneur and a brand builder that built those brands you see back there. So I'm a business and relationship expert, and I'm going to talk to you this time about some relationship things, courtship versus dating, and how to know the difference. I'll be back right after this. Well, welcome back, each and every one of you. Thank you so much for joining on all these different platforms. Make sure you like and subscribe and leave a comment. Hit the notification bell so you will know every time I upload a new video or come on live. Well, with all that being said, let's talk about courtship versus dating and the differences, to be able to tell the differences between the two, because sometimes they're used and talked about interchangeably, but they are actually two different things. And it's good to know what the differences are, because if your mission is different in life, you want to make sure that you're aligned with the right one. It's not that one is wrong and one is right per se, but if your outcomes, the outcomes that you're looking for, if you're not sure what those are, and you choose one, you may or may not get what you're looking for. And so you want to make sure you know what you want to have to happen in your life. And you want to make sure that you know the differences between the two vehicles so that you can choose wisely. Now, I will say courtship is a mechanism where two people get together and their whole end goal is a marriage. That's the whole end goal. So when they go into this relationship, it's kind of a look-see, but it's more of a calculated one. So in other words, they probably would have checked the person out ahead of time and got a certain amount of information about this person, through watching them, through knowing them, through seeing them, through talking to them casually, on a friendship basis, and even some things that other people may have or have said. And that doesn't mean that it was derogatory. It could be very good things that they've said about them, but they gather all of that information. And that information tells them that this person is a pretty good candidate for someone I would like to be married to, for someone that I would like to be in a relationship with, a strong, long-lasting relationship. And so you go into this whole relationship, courtship, having an end goal in mind. Versus with dating, you may or may not have that goal in mind. And this is where the conflict comes in, because sometimes people will go into get dating and they have that end goal in mind, but other people will go into dating and they don't have that end goal at all. They could care less about a long-term relationship. They could care less about a marriage. They care less about anything being serious. Unfortunately, at least in the States, the dating world has really watered down into two categories: free food and free sex. Okay, free food and free sex. Yes, you heard me. Because some people come, I have nothing else to do, so I'm just going to go out on this date. I'm hungry, so I'm going to go on this date. And it's kind of a throwaway, of your time or expectations. And then some come specifically because they're going to want to have sex when this is all over. So anything they're doing for you that may be considered nice or in the order of what you probably should be doing for a person because you care and you're nice and sweet, the end goal is that I want to have sex. So, dating is kind of a Russian roulette situation because it's so open. It's not as goal oriented. And so, I'm not saying that if you choose one or the other, you're a terrible person, but you don't want to get into one thing expecting a different result. So if you get into a courtship, you know that the end goal is marriage. The end goal is really to have a strong relationship with the person. And dating, that's not necessarily so. So you want to go in with that mindset. And then when it doesn't work out your way or whatever, you're like, what in the world happened? You want to be more educated on the differences. The other thing is, I would say maybe the second major difference. Hello, good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you, Frazier. Thank you so much for joining. The second thing I would say the big differences between courtship and dating is that with courtship, you take more time to really get to know the person. As a matter of fact, you get to know the person quite well. Uh, have a good foundation of knowing the person before you even make the move to kind of connect with them, okay, and go on a quote unquote date. So you already have a certain amount of information about that person. But certainly once you actually are into the courtship, you are getting to know the person even further, even deeper, getting to know them. Their likes, their dislikes, how they move about the world. You're really how they process certain things. You're getting to know that a lot better. Um, Versus with dating, it's a possibility, but it's not necessarily. And so, for most dates, in general speaking, you spend less time getting to know the person. It's usually I'm attracted to this person, or they said one or two things that really resonate with me, and I kind of hang on to those one or two things, and I move forward, okay, into the relationship. So it's not necessarily that you're going to get to extrapolate more information about this person or spend more time. As a matter of fact, a lot of times in dating, some dates, people will have physical relationships, have sex the first night. Okay, that's what they do. Or the second night, second week, 90 days later, whatever. And you may not know the person as well as you ought to know them. Okay. And in my book, Wise Courtship, you can see it back there behind me. See that red book, Wise Courtship? You can get it at wisecourtship.com or Amazon or Barnes and Nobles or even at your bookstore. Tell the manager to order it. In that, I give a lot of case studies, a lot of scenarios of people who, thank you so much for the Stay Safe Award. Thank you so much. And that is so apropos because this whole Wise Courtship movement is about keeping yourself safe, not just about physically, although you can get with the wrong person and your physical being could be in jeopardy, but also your mental and your emotional and sometimes financial. Oh, yes. Sometimes that could be at stake as well. And so when you are in a dating type relationship, you may not get to know the person as well as you ought in before moving on into some deeper things of the relationship, meaning sex and intimacy. And sex and intimacy is huge. It is huge. And if you did not get to know the person well, and then you start having all these problems and sex was involved and emotions was involved, it's really, really hard to sort through those problems. And ultimately, the breakup is so sour and so bitter and so horrid. So you really want to try to get to know the person as much as possible, and that's what the courtship avails you. So you definitely want to check that out. The other thing is courtship is more character based, okay, versus dating. And what I mean by character based is who is the person really when nobody else is looking. Who is this person? And we're going to go into that a little bit further right after this.
Are you subscribed to the Wise Courtship philosophy? Then you need to get your Wise Courtship gear at the Wise Courtship store. Go to bit.ly /Wise Courtship store. All the letters are lowercase. They make amazing gifts from children, adults, men, and women. jewelry, hats, cell phone cases, t-shirts, and more. Represent Wise Courtship by going to bit.ly/Wise Courtship Store.
Well, welcome back. And we were just talking about character. Character is who you are when no one else is looking, because you can be anybody in front of the spotlight. You can be anybody when you're on stage. You can be anybody when you're in front of a bunch of people, okay? When you are showing your public person, your representative. And very often when we go on these dates, we are sending our representative and not necessarily sending who we actually are. We're trying to clean ourselves up, and rightfully so, but we're trying to put our best foot forward. And sometimes people take that a little too far because you don't get a chance to really know who they are. And so courtships avail you the opportunity to get to know the person's character. And that's not necessarily so in a dating. It can happen. It can, but it's not always enough time in the dating situation to really assess a person's character. You know, what are they really, really, truly like? And anyone who's divorced, anyone who's separated can tell you that they came across the person that they were married to, came across as being the sweetest thing ever. And as they got deeper into that relationship, they found out they were nothing like it. So you want to definitely check that out too as well. Two more things and we'll be done. The fourth thing is their lifestyle. You get a chance to discover the lifestyle, and that's what courtship affords you, is that you get a chance to see what they live like, how they go about the world. What do they do from day to day, and how do they connect with other people? How do they connect with their families? What are their families like? And so you can really get to know that in a courtship. In a dating situation, you may not necessarily know that, okay? They may keep the family situations from you for long periods of time, how they live. You may not even know where they work. There's a lot of things that you may not know when you just a dating situation, because a dating situation is like you set up an appointment to meet the person and that's it. With the courtship situation, you've already gotten a lot of information about the person even before you go into it, into the relationship or the beginning of a relationship. And as you progress through the courtship, there are certain expectations, that you will get to know the family, that you are going to be involved in some of the lifestyle regimens and different things that go on. You are going to know the family a lot deeper and connect with them. You are going to know about their affiliations with church and work and all of that. Okay, it's not like, well, he works at such and such, and it's just off what they told you. It's something that you also are experiencing too as well. Last thing, number 5. Somebody put number 5 in the comment section. Number 5 is conflict skills. When you are courting versus dating, you are able to see how they deal in conflict. Okay, and this is so important. You want to be with people in their highs, but you got to be with people in their lows. Meaning, when I say highs, the victories of their life, but the lows when things are not going well at all. Okay, so you want to know that, and you really got to learn how to connect with them. And I want to put something in the chat box too a little bit later, so I'm prepping myself there. You want to spend enough time that you can see what they're like under pressure. How do they treat the wait staff when you go to the restaurant? People who seem dispensable to other folk, they're not really anybody. How do they treat them? How do they treat people who clean the floors and people who are serving them? How do they treat them? How do they act when the pressure's on? They've lost their job, or somebody's said something unkind to them. You want to know that, and you don't always know that in a dating situation. Sometimes, though, someone will show and rear their ugly head in a dating situation, and I'm telling you, if they got enough nerve to show it when you're dating them, that's a great sign you may want to back out, honey, because what are they going to be like when they get used to you? So I hope that you are blessed by the information I shared with you in regards to courtship versus dating. Again, I'm not downing dating. I do believe that dating should be more frequent among the young versus those who are more mature. And that's because when you're younger, you don't really know what you want, and you want to get a chance to expose yourself to as many people. But as you get older, you ought to know exactly what you need and exactly what you're looking for, or have a good idea before you get out there. And you don't want to connect with people knowing you don't have an end goal in mind. I will say this: if your end goal is marriage, a serious relationship, commitment, then get into a courtship situation. And if your end goal is to hurt people, or I'm just gonna hang out, or I'm just gonna get me some free food or some free sex, then go ahead with the dating, honey. Go ahead with dating. Even if you're not doing any of that and you just want to meet and just, get with as many different people as possible, then go with the dating. But please don't date someone who has an end goal of marriage, okay? And that's what they want. And please, guys, if your end goal is marriage, please don't start dating people who really just want to see different people. You don't need that conflict. Nobody needs that conflict. Align yourself and be with people who are going in the direction that you want to go. Now, while I'm saying all of this, I'm going to type something into the chat box. I do want to remind you guys that you can go to my website and get more information. Ta-da! At wisecourtship.com. Did it pop up? There it goes. You can get more information about wisecourtship.com right there. But what I'm going to put in the chat box right here is the link to my YouTube channel, because that is where you can watch this over and over again, and you can share it so that somebody else will be blessed. And the link is bit.ly/TonyTube. Both T's are capitalized, TONITUBE. Well, I've got to go, but you know that you can visit me on the web, which is www.wisecourtship.com. I'm on social media just about everywhere as Wise Courtship or Toni Henderson-Mayers. All you have to do is Google me. Just know that I love you and there's nothing you can do about it. And remember, I help you detect a lover worth living with. Bye. Well, hello there, each and every one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and ring that bell. Click it for me so that you will know anytime I upload a new video.